totally forgot to mention it, but thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers on this channel. I think this time last year I had like 25 subscribers, so it means a lot. It's good to see the videos paying off. Anyways, here's the video. Hello friends, and welcome back to another book video. I know we're quite a ways into January, but I thought I would do a little rough 2023 TBR. It's kind of just all the books on my physical TBR, which I did one of these videos a couple months ago, but I've gotten some new books and I've gone through a lot of books since then. And my goal for 2023, I very much do not want to be buying new books. I want to get through all the ones that I already have, just because I miss the excitement of going to a bookstore, finding a book that you actually want to read right then, and then feeling excited to get through it. Because right now with my physical TBR, every time I look at it, I just get completely overwhelmed. I have no clue what to read, which sucks because at one point I was really excited to read all of them, but now it just feels like another task. It feels like another thing to get through. So this year I would like to clear out my physical TBR and then buy books depending on when I want to read them instead of just hoarding them. So right now it's January 22nd. I'm in the middle of 3 books. I'm reading Goblet of Fire, and I have like 200 pages left of that one. Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I think I'm like 20 pages or something into this. It's very short, but because it's a classic, I'm very intimidated to read it. And then on my Kindle, I'm reading Super Gifted, which is the second book to Ungifted. I don't know if there's like a series name, but just for kind of a lighter read, I guess. So now we have to take a look into the TBR hole. So this is my TBR cavern. This is all the books that I have that I still need to read. Some of these are new additions, some of these are not mine, and some of these have been sitting in here for a long time. I think if I had to pick some that I absolutely need to read this year, these are probably the ones that I'm absolutely the most excited about. Cast by Isabel Wilkerson is a book that I've had for, I don't even know how long. I keep saying I'm gonna read it and then I put it off. I think just because it's nonfiction, it's very intimidating, but Allison Pages commented on one of my other videos and said that this is a good book and that it's not too hard to get through, so I need to just force myself to sit down and get into it, and I think once I start, it really won't be so bad. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, which is actually my first ever book of the month box. I decided to treat myself for the new year and start doing that, so this is the first one I picked just because I've heard so many things about it and I want to know what all the hype's about. Convenience Store Woman I picked up fairly recently, but I so desperately want to read this. It's about a woman who works in a convenience store and people are saying that she's too old and she needs to actually go on with her life and actually do adult things. And she's content to just work where she is. And I feel like I can really relate to that right now, and I would really like to see a character who's feeling the same way. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. It's about Hamlet's son. I've seen a lot of people, I've seen Noelle Gallagher talk about it, Peruse Project said it made her cry. Lots of people have said a lot of good things about this. And honestly, for some reason, I thought that it was going to be way longer, but it's really not that bad. So I think I could get through it fairly quickly if I just started. And then On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I bought this when we went to New York in August, but it's one of those things where I have such high expectations that I don't want to read it and risk messing that up. But it's about the relationship between a son and a mother, and I don't know if I'm emotionally ready to handle that. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I got this as a little bit of a Christmas present, but I just cannot bring myself to read it. I don't think I can emotionally handle this right now. Same thing with this one. These two very much go together with that. I just feel like I can't handle what's in them right now, but I really want to read them. But I think there's nothing wrong with that. If you have a book and you're excited to read it, but you don't think you can handle the content that's in it right then, there's nothing wrong with waiting. You don't have to force yourself to read it and put yourself in a worse headspace, especially when you're reading such personal books. It can be a lot to take in all at once, so there's no shame in it. I also have been meaning to get to Pachinko. I wanted to read this last year. I didn't get around to it because I was too intimidated to say the name, but now I finally am saying it, and I just need to force myself to read it. You're following a family over generations. I've heard if you like the Vanishing Half type of book, you'd like this because it's like following generations over however many years. You're following their journey as immigrants, which it can be really hard to do this type of book good because you have to really establish the characters. You have to really be able to set up that family tree so it doesn't get too confusing with too many different names. And I've heard that this book does that part fairly well, but that the ending falls a little flat, so I want to start reading this. I just don't know how much I'll like it, and that's putting me off. So I think I just need to stop watching book videos for a while. Just get through all of this without hearing any other opinions, because I keep saying I'm gonna read it and then I always find something else. This is a gift from Kaylin. We only recently got this. It is The Invention of Hugo Cabret, and it looks large and it looks intimidating, but it is a lot of pictures. They said that this was one of their favorite stories, so got it to share. Then these, I'm not super excited to read these. I'm not like reaching out for them actively, but I said I wanted to read more nonfiction, and these are all from Kaylin's shelf gifted to me so that I can try and test the waters. I can't really talk on any of them because I literally don't know what they are at all. I also have a lot of horror stories. I have the classic horror stories from Barnes & Noble, which I meant to read during Halloween, but you can only read so many books. So maybe I'll save that for this year's spooky season, or maybe I'll just read it throughout the year. Same with this one, Imaginary Friend. I meant to read it during Halloween because it's kind of a scarier book. It never ended up getting around to it because it is very long and the text is very, very small. I have Agatha Christie short stories, which I was planning to read in the next month or two. I think a good system for me is to have one longer book or one series that I stick with for a whole month, and then throughout the month I'm also reading a bunch of other stories. So for example, this month I've been reading the full Harry Potter series, and then on top of that I've been reading Animal Farm, I've been reading Super Gifted, whatever else. So that I can still feel accomplished and I can still feel like I'm getting through books, but I'm also being committed to a longer series, which I always love. Hoi!
Hi.
Breakfast break. I was so rudely interrupted, so really quickly, let's finish this. No Longer Human. I read Junji Ito's version, but I would like to read it in its actual form. But I was watching Emmy Rank Classics, and she put it at like a 3 or something, because the concept is cool, but I guess the execution just wasn't all that touching. Parable of the Sower. I have heard good things about it, but I have no clue what it's about. So it's not top priority, but it does seem like it will be good when I get to it. Lolita and My Dark Vanessa. I actually wanted to do a video kind of comparing these two because they're both about like an age gap, power dynamic, bad relationship between maybe a student and a teacher. I don't know if they're both about teachers, but they're both about the power dynamic of an older man and a younger teenager girl who's not somebody that should be in a relationship with this guy. And I'm fairly sure Lolita's from the guy's perspective and My Dark Vanessa is from the girl. So I'd like to read both of these for a video and kind of compare the perspectives and the dynamics of the characters and all of that. And then all the way at the end we have some series, so obviously finishing Harry Potter. And then over there I have some of the Magnus Chase books just because I think I started reading them but I never really got into it. And then Dracula, War of the Worlds, and Grimm's Fairy Tales are all just kind of mood read whenever I feel like I want to pick up one of those. But I'm just gonna close this because we've got our best picks. See if we can do this. So these are my must-reads of 2023. I believe I have 12 books here. So we have No Longer Human, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, Hamnet, Convenience Store Woman, Lolita, My Dark Vanessa, Agatha Christie short stories, Pachinko, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, Cast, and I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I've got 12 books, which kind of works out perfectly because I can read one a month. These are the ones that I'm absolutely the most excited about reading right now, so you'd think I'd get to them sometime soon. I think it'll be interesting to come back to this video at the end of the year to be able to see my overall physical TBR and to see how it's grown or how it's gone down or whatever happens, but also to see if these books, which are my current priority, actually got done. I think if I had to pick the ones that I most want to read right now, like absolutely need to pick up probably within the next week or two, it would definitely be Convenience Store Woman just because it's so short and it's the one that I actually went to the store looking for. Like this is one that I actually wanted to read right then. So definitely this and then maybe Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow because I've heard good things and I got it from Book of the Month, so it'd be cool to get that done before the next one comes in. But that's kind of this whole video. It was more just for me to look through my actual physical TBR and to decide what I actually want to prioritize this year. But looking at these two stacks and seeing all of these books that I'm actually like physically excited about reading, it's a lot less intimidating than looking at that stack of books that are just kind of there. I was obviously in the mood for them at some point or else they wouldn't have ended up in there, and I'm probably going to be in the mood for them again sometime. So for now, these are my focus. If you guys have read any of these 12 books, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there are any that are must read as soon as possible, or even in my overall physical TBR, if there are any books in there that you've heard a lot of good things, that you've read and you think that they're really good. Anyways, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, you can subscribe to this channel. You can also support me on my main channel, Riverbxnd, where I post music content, or my Instagram, Spotify. I'll also put my Goodreads and my Storygraph all in the description. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.